Regalia in the Park.
Beautiful. What a showstopper that thing is. I didn't see anything wrong with this image at all. I mean, you got one little petal up here that's a little different, but that was the flower. It wasn't nothing that the photographer did. I can't see anything wrong with it. I'm going to call it 15.
Then there was light.
I think the most interesting thing about this one, well, it's an interesting image. It's well done. I love the window reflections. The light is all coming in from the outside. None of the lights are on, but I like it. And this is another one that I would have a very difficult time not giving it, and I'm not going to not give it. I'm going to give it a 15. I think that's a good image, a great image.
It's interesting.
Yes, it is.
Fading winter mask.
Interesting concept. I'm going to give it a 14. I think it might have been better to have darkened the white areas down just a little bit so that you could see the face better, because it's a mask of the face, but very well done. Very well done.
Elvis.
Elvis is going to get a 10. Nothing wrong with Elvis, but it doesn't. It lacks the impact of the prior images.
You can't give him 100.
Oops, I can't give him 100? What? I liked Elvis, you know.
That's cool.
You're a dog, huh?
Now he's got
Got his
15.
15. Come on, let's go
him
back.
down a little bit here.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on. Let's get it better.
Let's try this again here.
There you go.
Hey, finally.
Yay. We like
Thumbs.
Juvenile Rosie Spoonville. Blah, there's too much words.
Nice image of the bird. Eye is sharp. I think I would lighten that eye up a little bit so that it would give you a little more oomph to get to that point. I would also, I think, have darkened the background down a little bit. I'm going to give it a 12.
Moscow fashion.
Maybe Fascion.
Yeah.
Fashion. Moscow fashion. Whatever it is. Sure what fashion is. Does that mean prostitute?
Go back, Betty. Tell us what you really think.
I don't think they'd be riding bikes.
Okay, so
Well, you know, you can peddle a lot of things.
I hope she makes more money than that.
any more zingers here? It's an interesting image simply because this person's on a bicycle with that get-up on, but as a photograph, it gets a 10.
Monticello.
Always nice to use a reflection to get a double image of the building or whatever it is you're trying to reflect. I think this stuff here doesn't enhance the picture, and it's so easy to take out these days. I would have taken it out. It just kind of draws you out there and you think, oops. And it, you know, it would have filled in with the sky and it would have been fine. It's a postcard shot. It's nice. It's a tough time to take a picture because at the middle of the day, nothing is interesting as it is at dawn or at dusk. It's a better image. I'll give it an 11.
Purple iris.
Nicely done. I don't know whether the water was supplied by man or nature. It doesn't make much difference. It does call attention to, enhances the color. Nice focus on the image. The background is completely out of focus. I would have, I think it's cut off too tight here. I would have given a little bit more space there. It shouldn't be right in the center, but I would have put it on the other side of the image and moved the camera over a little bit. I'm going to give this an 11.
Whoops, one too many.
Ice Dune Sunset.
These images are hard to take, particularly to get the color in the sky right. And I think this is one of those ones where your camera has, or the maker has, altered the color just a little bit, and with the effect that the sky doesn't look natural. I will give it an 11. This is interesting with the track of some kind of a critter across there. Give you credit for getting out in the cold and taking the image, but I don't think the colors are what's really there. Yeah, because I live there, so I see that every night, and that's a little different than it is.
Bird.
Big puffed up bird. The eye's nice and sharp in focus. The background is blurred out. Obviously taken when it was really cold out. Bird's puffed up and trying to stay warm. I will give this a 12. Well focused, and the color's good on them.
Flyover.
Nice. I think it would be nice if these could be more sharply focused. The background I'm not worried about at all. I kind of like the horizontal lines across here like this, but it lacks the sharpness of focus that would really make this image pop. I will give it a 12.
The day after the close of fox season.
We have a survivor here. Nice and sharp. Eyes are sharp. Antlers are sharp. Background is blurred. So it's well done from a technical perspective. You're not going to get everything sharp. This might be interesting if it was sharp, but it isn't. Harsh light makes it hard to get an image that's a real high score. I will give it a 12, but I think if it was a little darker or darkened down a bit, it would be a better image.
Slide Rock State Park, Arizona.
It goes without saying the image is hot because it's in Arizona, but I would have, I think it would be better if it was a little less. This is overexposed in my view. It draws your eye. I think really your subject is this stream that comes down through here, but all of this is so bright, and maybe it's because I'm close to the screen, that it overpowers the image. I thank you for not adjusting the color to the point where it looks artificial, and that's probably the color that it is. It's just a little bright on the eyes, so I'll give it a 13.
Catch of the day.
Nice image. I think this is, I like the silhouettes of the guys working. You got a nice straight horizon line. That color is the color of the sky at that hour of the day. I'm not bothered by this big negative space down here. I think it enhances the image. I would give this a 15.
Tulips.
perfectly lit, well exposed. Nothing's too bright, nothing's too dark, nothing's distracting. It's a 15 too. Mhm.
We are getting married.
Interesting engagement shot. The framing is interesting as well. I assume the dog is part of the bargain here.
Best man.
Nicely done. I wonder, the image itself, as opposed to the frame, seems to be not straight up and down, but a little bit tipped. And I know that when you're in the forest, sometimes the trees are all tipped in the same direction, and I get that, but it just seems like the image is a little skewed, and that is only emphasized by the frame, which is nice and square. Interesting concept. I'm going to give it a 12.
Mount St. Helen.
This is a dull image, I think. It would be made better if this were brightened up here, or this over here a little bit. And unfortunately, we've got an Erie sky here, which is something we have to suffer with all the time. But it is so easy to replace that sky with something. It doesn't have to be a bright sky, but something of more interest, which would have given a little more punch to the image. It was a, you have to take these pictures when you're there, I know that. The mountain is just kind of dull. And maybe a little bit more sharpening on that mountain would have helped. That's it.
Another day's journey.
This is a lovely image. And you can see what I mean about the sky. I mean, here we've got something that's just the colors are perfect. Images in the right position. I like the empty space over here. It really gives a sense of a loneliness. I give it a 15.
Evening rest.
Nicely done. I will give it a 13. I just think it's a trifle dull. It is what it is. Well done, but it doesn't, pardon the expression, float my boat as far as punch is concerned.
Windows.
Give this a 14. Interesting, well lit, well composed, absolutely straight. Sometimes even the curve of the lens will screw up a picture like this, but it doesn't seem to be affecting this one. The colors are simple, pulled in, and the peeling paint is great. My thoughts, it's well done.
Contemplation.
I'm going to give this a 13, but I wonder if it might have gotten a better score if I could have figured out what this is. I don't know whether he's got a tennis ball, or that's a baseball, or that's just a
Garbage.
piece of trash. You know, if he's contemplating that, it's well done.
Serenity.
I think the colors have been bumped up a little bit. This seems to be unnatural, as does this over here. Almost like it's lightened up along the edge. if I were shooting this, I would have shot it with a longer camera, a longer shutter speed, because I think the image of the water falling down should be smooth rather than not quite sharp, but not quite smooth, not quite silky. I think silky would have been a more serene image, and I'm not sure that this over here adds much to it. I'm going to cut it off right there, so I'm going to give it a 13.
Spring will be soon.
We can only hope.
Mm.
Color's good. Subjects are interesting. Background is all blurred out, as you can see. 12.
Hummingbird with tongue sticking out.
Well, I find the subject very interesting. I didn't realize this was the tongue. I've seen lots of hummingbirds, but I had no idea. I thought that was part of the bill. Who knew? But I don't. Technically, the image has got a lot of stuff that are distracting. You got all this heated up down here. Here's your image right in here. I would have dulled that down, cut it off there, cut it off down here, and dulled this down. And then your image, which is your bird, would have been the thing that popped off the screen at you rather than all that other stuff that pulls your eye away from the subject. The maker got the eye nice and sharp. It's just the background is very distracting. I'm going to give it a 12.
Whitetail.
Nothing pops on this to me. You don't have any choice with a subject like this. There they are, you take the picture, and it's tough to get it in a way that really does the job. It looks like he's in mid-chew there, and the background is what the background is. I just don't think it's an arresting photograph.
Winter reflections.
Nice image, and obviously the maker wanted this stuff to come out from the edge because it comes out all the way around, and I think that's an interesting thing. This is kind of interesting here all by itself. 12.
Fire and ice.
That is nice. I think this is an image of ice along maybe the lake or some lake, illuminated by the setting sun. It's a little too intense, I think. Been pushed a little too far, but it's an interesting image. I'm going to give it a 12. I take that back. I'm going to make that a 13. Somebody had to give that some thought to get it to that point.
Warm sunshine.
This would be almost an impossible image to do in a different way. This would be fine if we didn't have it completely burned out over here. And this little bit here too. If you could have caught the face of the cat more sharply, it just seems like it's kind of not completely focused there. And in a way where you could have highlighted the fur here and here, like it is right up here in the sun, it would have been a much better image. I think maybe if you had really reduced the size of your aperture, it might have been clearer, it would have been harder to bring back the subject's face, but you would have been able to keep this stuff in check to avoid that heat. I'm going to give it 11.
Hello, you may not know,
Whoops.
hello, you may not know me, but I'm a stink bug.
Oh, really?
Wow. This is the first really macro shot we've seen here. I think these things are his eyes. And, you know, look at the hair coming out of the whatever. This is an interesting shot, and it wasn't easily taken. It's well composed, well lit, well exposed. The only thing that's soft is right down here, but I'm not going to hold that back. I'm going to give it a 14. I think it's an interesting shot. I'd like to talk to the maker of that one afterwards if I could.
Solar reflections at Trek.
I'm going to say 10. It's a picture of what it's a picture of, but it's not, to me, exceptionally interesting. This is almost like a journalistic type shot where you were sent out to take a picture of the solar panels at Trek. There they are. And it's well done, but it doesn't have the punch, it doesn't have the weight that we'd like to see in the competitions.
Evening in Port.
Interesting photo, but I would have opened this up down here so you can see what it is, because I believe there are people in here, and it should be fairly easy to do that in Photoshop these days. I don't know where we are in focus. We seem to be out of focus here, kind of out of focus over here. I'm going to give this a 9. I'm sure it was a wonderful place to be, at a wonderful time to be there, but the image doesn't bring it home. I'm sorry.
Portland.
This is going to be another 9. This, I think, might have been where the focal point was. Nothing's in focus over here. The mountain could have been focused on infinity, that would have captured all of this stuff sharply. But instead, I think your focal point was there someplace, and that's not really the subject that you wanted to show.
Mystical Woodland.
I'm going to give it an 11. I think I like the black and white, especially the trees and the snow. And the maker obviously did something else here to put some kind of a filter or something on it to make it look like it was falling snow. I don't think it is falling snow, but it's an interesting effect. I might have tried to take out some of this stuff here to make it look like you were going into the image, because clearly you're coming in, if you had come in from the other side and had stood over here a little further and been able to look back in the woods, it would have been, I think, a more interesting image.
Solitary.
I'm going to give it an 11. This is nicely in focus. This is hot back here, almost unnaturally so. And then, I don't know where the edge of the image is there, whether it's over here someplace and it's all blacked out, or it's tightly focused on this leaf. It's an interesting idea. I think it needs to be developed a little bit more. I would encourage you to give that another try. Maybe back down on this. This is too bright, but this is too dark. And you could have more interest in the image with a little bit more of it in focus.
It's a stroke.
Yeah.
Needed a stroke. Tired after a swim.
This is a beautiful image of a child who's got those pensive eyes, tired clearly, but warm, and thinking about something. Well done. I want to say 13 on this one.
Feathered friend.
Nice. This is how you make bird food look interesting. Well done. Unfortunately, these particular birds, I don't know what we're looking at here. This is a nuthatch? Chickadee,
Chickadee.
thank you. It needs to be lightened up on the face, particularly in view of the very light background here. You could have darkened this down a little bit and brightened this up a little bit, and it would have been a better image. I'm going to give it a 12.
Frozen.
Nice. I'm going to go to 14. I think I would have composed it a little bit different. Maybe moved over a little further on this side and maybe cut it down a little bit on this side. But I like that image of the ice, frozen creek or pond or whatever it is in the background. And then the frosted leaf. Nice image.
This train is cold.
Good image. This is real snow coming down here. I hope the maker was far enough away from the train that they can get out of the way before it got there. Looks like there's a creek on one side and not much place to go. But nicely captured. The color of the red really pops in the image. Gives it a sense of life and vitality. Obviously the train is moving, so there's an immediacy to the picture. Nicely done. I'm dancing between two numbers here. I think I'm going to give it a 14.
Wing on wing.
The soft colors of the sky are nice. The image of the boats is good. It could be a little brighter. I'd like to see a little more color in these people here to make a more interesting image. I'll give it a 13.
Tumbling down.
Something tumbled down right there. I would have gotten rid of that. I'll give it an 11. I think a day or two later it might have been a more interesting picture. It might have been better with a little bit more light on it. It seems dull in the way that it's up on the screen. Of course, we always are looking at the screens, and I know it doesn't look like it does on the screen on your computer, so it might be bright on the computer, but it looks dull here.
Badlands 2.
Interesting postcard shot. I think it would be more interesting if you really got into the texture of the canyon and just eliminated the sky. The sky doesn't really do much for it except say that it's up there. But if you really powered into some of these areas where you have a lot of layers here, you could really make something of the textures that are there. This doesn't. I mean, if you get right in, fill the frame with the thing that is the most photogenic here. This is a good background shot to explain to somebody how it lays, but I think it could be a better picture by getting in tighter to it. Oh, yeah, I've got to give it a score, haven't I? I'll give it a 12.
In-flight communication.
This is a 15 right out of the box. I don't know who's taking these eagle shots, but these are wonderful.
150.
Yeah, that deserves it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Oh, what did I mark here? Where's the delete?
It
Hello.
hates you, Mike.
I know
hates
it
you.
does. There we
There
go.
we go.
There.
We love you though.
Wow.
Caverns.
I'm gonna give this a 10. I know it's a cavern, I don't know what this is up here. I would have taken it out. They're interesting, they're underground, they're spotlit with various colors. You were there, and that's good. But I think for a photo competition, you want the punch, and you want to be careful of this kind of stuff here. It doesn't improve it. Easy to get rid of.
Carnival in Venice.
I have a friend that's in Venice right now and is posting every day one of these pictures. They have amazing costumes that they dress in and so forth. And of course, the buildings in the city are crumbling, but the festival goes on, the carnival goes on. It's a very nicely exposed picture, perfectly appropriate to the setting. The costume is, of course, lush and spectacular and over the top. And the masks are interesting. They're like a half a face mask, and it's a wonderful picture. I'm going to give it a 13. I would have gotten in maybe a little closer, but it's very nicely done. But the subject is somebody else's art rather than the art of a photographer.
Splish Splash.
I give this an 11. It's interesting. It's fun to catch like
Moment now.
the water in the air, and especially this duck looking like he's just shaking his head off or something. But,
Fine Fancy Feathers.
this is nice, a female cardinal with the ice around her mouth. She's obviously been dining. And look here in the, you can see the texture of the feathers here, the individual feathers. It's well done. The eye's a little soft, but those feathers are really remarkable. I'm going to give it a 13.
Springtime Songster.
Nothing not to like about this. I like the angle of the stick that the bird is clinging to, the fact that it's got a green leaf on it. The bird is clearly singing, the eye is sharp. Everything is good except a little bit of the bird down here, but maybe the focal plane wasn't the same for that because it was focused on the eye. I don't know. Can't find anything wrong with it. Maybe this is a little empty here, but I had no way to do it. Otherwise, I'd give it a 15.
Open the windows to the sunlight.
I think this is another Venice one, and it's been juiced. The colors are a little exaggerated here. I think we've all gotten used to that. We see a lot of stuff in magazines that are just over the top. I think it's not authentic to the topic the subject that you're taking the photograph of. And part of the problem here may be the fact that it's projected. When you look at this on your computer screen, it's lit from behind. When you look at it on the screen, it's lit from in front, and it can change the lighting significantly. However, I think it is too bright. There's not any real subject, except we're talking about open windows. I will give it a 12.
Say a prayer.
nicely done. Colors are appropriate, nice and square. Not exciting, but I'm going to give it a 13.
A walk on the forest floor.
I'll give this one a 12. I've taken those images like that. As long as the bear's looking someplace besides you. It's when they zero in on you, you want to be ready to move. That's a nice image. Black bears are hard to take pictures of because the coats are so dark. This one's a particularly clean one. I was never able to find one that was nice and clean like this. I must have diving around for some salmon or something. Although this is a springtime shot.
Aging is a work of art.
This is great stock photography here. This is beautifully done. From the lip of the old jar or bottle or whatever it is up here, and then to this wonderfully detailed image here with these little, I know it's not a dandelion, but it's sort of a little flyaway thing. It's a 15. I would have stroked it, I think. It would have perhaps been better, but that's nice. Very nice.
Learning to fly.
Hard to capture them like this. Shot with a very high shutter speed, I think, to get those wings out like that. I will give it a 14. I like the fact that the bird is moving into the image, how sharp the claws are here. I wouldn't have thought of that. I just wonder about the background. This looks like a cardinal about the size of a 747 just coming through a cloud layer. I don't know how the
No, it's snow.
Oh, snow. Okay.
Yes.
Nicely done. I like the wings.
Dragonfly.
Dragonfly would be better if the background was a little more obscured, and the dragonfly's nice and sharp, but it's just that background draws your eye away, particularly because it's a lot the same color as the dragonfly. Maybe a little different angle. I'll give it a 12.
Mom, got any more of this green stuff?
Great image. Look at the detail here. This is the effect that I was trying to get with cat fur, but this really's got it, you know, with the hair standing up like this, and the face of the animal. This is a 15.
Beautiful.
Misty autumn deer.
Wow.
I think I've got to give this a 15. It's beautifully done. I don't know whether the deer was dropped in there or what, but it really is nice. I like the path through here. I like the dark tree and the fact that you can see some stuff behind it, so you don't have to wonder where the edge of the image is. The way the sunlight comes down through, and the deer itself is not tack sharp, but sharp enough for you to certainly appreciate the qualities of it. Looks like somebody cranked its head around backwards.
Girl with a pink balloon.
Cute. Nicely done. She's running out of the image, but you've got to have her running out of the image to get that balloon in it. And the background is nice and appropriately dull, so that she's highlighted against it. Great stock photography. I would give it a 13.
Inside the tree.
It's interesting. I think what I had originally thought were age rings are just chainsaw marks. The colors and the patterns are great. It would make a great abstract. This part of it would make a great abstract. This part of it tells you where it is. I'll give it a 12.
Seabrook Island, South Carolina seabirds.
And they're all standing on one leg. I'm trying to think how best to take this. I think maybe you increase the exposure on something like this pattern, because you're gonna, maybe not increase your exposure, your compensation.
Shadows and highlights.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking, that, you know, you can do a post-processing, and I would hope that you could lighten that up a little bit. That's too dark. It would make a lot better image if they were lightened up and this was darkened down. You can certainly do that in Photoshop.
The time of day is just bad for this picture.
It is, and here's your, I mean, this is nice down here that you've
Yeah.
done that. It's nicely proportioned and so forth, but
And not all your birds are in focus,
No.
so you gotta pick and choose which bird you want to look at.
yeah, and there isn't any one of them that's really in focus. It'd be, but this is something that you shoot at 6:30 in the morning,
Yeah.
and you get a winner. But at noon or 11 o'clock or 2:30 in the afternoon, it's too bright. I would give it an 11.
Floating lights.
I will give this a 10. The image is fine. It's just it's a good job.
Oops. You can go back to. Anything else you want to say,
No.
Jim? No, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Whiskey Island Visitor.
Very nice. The butterflies in sharp focus. The stroke is the right color. The background is the right color. The flowers are in good focus. Everything is lit beautifully. It's a 15.
Unrealistic. Seeing double.
The birds are wonderful. I think I might have tried to darken the snow down a bit, but maybe not even that. The two birds are wonderful. This is a 14. I like. They almost look like they've got snowshoes on, don't they? They've got different colored feet.
Raspberries in a plate.
Nice. Go back to the hair again. I will give this a 12. Nice color. Maybe a polarizing filter would have eliminated a little bit of the brightness, but it's not so bad. The plate's the bright part, not the berries.
Okay, that's it.
That's it.
Come on up.
Probably someone from Gerard.
Could have been one of my friends or something from
That's all right.
Gerard.
Yeah.
They get confused, you know? It's
Okay.
probably.
While they're pulling images up, I just want to let you know that if any of you are interested in getting some mats cheap, or some foam core board cheap, or some good-sized pieces of mat board, or a mat cutter, we are in the process of selling our house, and we're having a household sale Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of the second weekend of March. We are not going to be there. It's being done by other people, and there's a lot of stuff, photography stuff that you might find interesting. So take a look. I've got a couple of lenses that I'm selling in it. Not anything really special, but if you don't have them, they're special to you.
What
So,
brand?
Nikon,
Why would you buy Nikon?
Hey,
because it's the best.
yeah, there you go, tape that,
Used to
man.
make you an idiot.
Never got my
We're not
ticket.
taping this anymore, are we?
Yeah, we are.
So where are we here?
That would be bronze, the winner,
The
15.
winner of bronze was those two.
That
I don't
is
know who did it,
gorgeous.
but it's beautiful.
Very nice.
Very nice. I don't know whose that is. And the dahlia's pretty
Dahlia.
also. Look at the dahlia. Do we know whose dahlia
Richard
that
Lipchick.
is?
Richard
Richard
Lipchick.
Lipchick.
Richard. Richard.
12, 14, all right, next group. 15
Oh, we
on the
got a
bottom for the
15 right
butterfly.
there. There we go. Whiskey Island visitors. Whose is this? Do we
I
know?
think that might be Elaine's,
Oh, yeah.
because we were together at that time.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, really?
I'm thinking, I mean, I won't say for sure, but
Could be.
Nice image.
Yeah, it's nice. And we got a 15
Couple.
up there, which
That's
is
beautiful.
Yeah.
somebody's. Anybody we know? You'll claim it. If it's not yours, you're gonna claim it anyway.
Oh, that's
I'll bet
gorgeous
you that's
too.
gotta be
Chuck's.
Chuck Garrett's, yeah.
Wow, amazing.
Who's doing these?
His name's Chuck
Oh,
Garrett.
Chuck Garrett, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And he lives downstate a ways. He never comes to any of the meetings. He just
Wow.
sends.
Oh, is that the guy that
Eagles
wins?
down.
and don't
Let's
know
kick him out.
We could bitch at him that the only thing he ever puts in is eagles.
yeah.
Oh,
He
is
can say,
They're amazing eagles.
can't
Yes,
you
they
do
are.
anything but eagles?
that the
All
guy
right,
who
this
won?
one I know is
Is that
Becky
him?
Sandler's.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
I know that.
Start my car.
I think that's hanging in her living room or something. And I don't know who's this one. Maybe it's Brian's.
I was
maybe?
I
gonna
thought it was
Yeah.
Brian's,
Yeah, it
I've
looks
seen it
like
on
Brian.
Facebook, yeah, it looks like a Brian.
Yeah, I thought I had seen it before.
Brian Birchtold, I
Yeah.
think.
Looks amazing work.
11, 14. There's another 15.
Yeah, there's that.
Two more. One more.
What kind of bird is
That's gotta
that?
be Mr. Grubbs'.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Yellow wood.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. That's
Great
the name.
job, I love how you got the beak open.
It's amazing how you can make a plastic bird look real, isn't it?
Put all those
Beautiful
feathers
job.
on there.
They just shoot them and freeze them.
Sort of like the bugs?
That one's just candy.
I don't know who
Yeah,
this
that's
is.
beautiful,
Is they
too.
claiming
It's
it?
gorgeous.
Very pretty.
A little
very
stroke
pretty.
around that one, but that's
I
great.
thought it was
Yeah.
just candy.
That's one of the things I'd like to
I'm
talk
not
about a little
that
bit
one.
before we get off of here, is that there were a lot of pictures tonight that needed a stroke.
Mhm.
I don't know whose this is, but
That's mine, that's Patty.
Patty Mays?
Stroke that baby.
If you don't know how to do a stroke, let me know, and I will send you a thing about it.
Tracy.
Tracy? Nice.
So do you mean texturized, Patty, or there's a thing called stroke?
No,
There's-
here.
Go back to,
Here,
this
that
one.
orange
Yeah.
See
border.
the stroke around here?
They call that
Oh,
a
okay,
stroke.
so like a frame?
Kinda,
Well,
but
it's not a frame,
Oh.
it's actually called a stroke.
It's
Okay.
Except the
under,
number of
it's
pixels
under
underneath of
edit.
Yeah,
It's under
sometimes
edit?
you can have a fat stroke or a skinny stroke. I tend to do mine at like 1 pixel.
Okay,
Something like that.
it's nice
So
to know.
So it's that your picture, so your eye doesn't really go to the stroke, but it does hold you into the picture.
Yeah, if you can go back to some of those pictures that were, and I don't expect you to, but we all remember, there were a lot of pictures that were very dark tonight. That,
Very dark.
Yeah, I had
That-
one, the
that-
cheesecake
Oh,
there.
and this one,
Here.
I mean,
Even that,
is this the
okay.
edge of the picture, or is this the edge of the picture?
Oh, okay.
Put a white stroke around this, just a real
Just a
narrow one,
little
like
one.
Patty says,
Yeah,
and
just a
it's
little.
gonna pop that picture off the page.
Yeah,
And this one probably I should have given it a 14 instead of 15, but it deserves a 15 for the
Yeah.
image, but the way it's displayed could have been better with a stroke.
Okay,
it
that
just,
makes sense.
it just helps with the presentation,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, I'll turn the lights back on. Thank Thank you, thank you, thank you,